What up, what up, what up, what up? How you doing, Milwaukee? Once again, you've entered into the #1 faith-based sports talk show in the entire world, into its courts. I'm your host, your man, P. Skip. Squad up today. T-Max in the house.
Hola.
Chili Willy.
Gracias, amigo.
Let's get into it. We're going to go to 1 Timothy chapter 5, verses 17 through 18 in the New Living, and it says this. Elders who do their work well should be respected and paid well, especially those who work at both preaching and teaching. Verse 18 says, for the scripture says, you must not muzzle an ox to keep it from eating as it treads out the grain. And in another place, those who work deserve their pay. I want to get right into the Dallas Cowboys and how they are dealing with a three-headed contract monster down there in the Big D. They've already signed Amari Cooper to the highest paid receiver, and now they have to start thinking about paying Dak this year. But with that being said, paying Dak, they still have to deal with Ezekiel is like, hey, I want my money, or I'm holding out the entire year. And Ezekiel still has 2 years left on his rookie deal and a third year to be franchised. And so we're dealing with that, and they're going, because I know how they're thinking. They're thinking, okay, we got Amari signed. We got to get Dak. We got a few years to wait for Ezekiel. But Ezekiel's like, you know the life of a running back. And as much hits and as many times y'all giving me the ball, I want my money now. So they're dealing with that. And I'm wondering, from you guys' perspective, how would you deal with something like this? Because, the media is saying they should have dealt with Ezekiel last year. Let's hurry up and lock you down this year. We lock you and Amari down the next year, or what you've been this year, we have to deal with Dak. That way we got all three of y'all locked. Because the reality of it is, Dak cannot win a championship without Ezekiel.
A lot of people say that.
So how would you guys deal with something of this nature?
That's a very good question, and I guess it's a good problem, to have. I just go back to the legacy of Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones has always been a big spender. When the football stadium was built, it was, the largest, most expensive stadium, in the world, and probably still ranks in the top 5. So, and it's in, Dallas, Big D, everything is done bigger in Texas. Now it's time to put your money where your mouth is. As it relates to the players, I don't have any issue with Amari Cooper. I liked him back from Alabama, even up to now. I thought he was underutilized in Oakland, got a way of escape, from that exile to Dallas. So go ahead, give him his bread. Dak, on the other hand, when you stack up his, numbers with other top quarterbacks, he might mess around and be overpaid. Right. But I can go ahead and, give him that as well because he's a younger player. It's one of the building blocks to the squad. As far as Zeke is concerned, I think he is the heart and soul of the team, and I would say pay him. Under some circumstances, you say, well, hey, you're under contract, you signed for 4 years, you should honor the deal, et cetera, et cetera. But I believe football is the only professional sports where the contracts are not guaranteed.
That is correct.
And, so this whole thing about get your money now, get all you can, and can all you get, I think that's perfectly applicable here. And as it relates to formulas, this kind of coincides with the history, recent history, I should say, last 20 years or so, that Dallas has had, going back to Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and Emmitt Smith. You got Dak, you got Amari, and now you have Ezekiel playing that role of Emmitt Smith, and they won championships there. So I think, might be a little bit of, tough guyness. Who's going to see which one is going to, fold first, little chicken being played. But if Ezekiel is, planning to sit out the entire year, I say go for it. And I think the Le'Veon Bell last year in Pittsburgh, after he didn't get what he thought deserved bread, hey, I'm willing to sit out. I got enough bread to still make it, still can eat, you know what I'm saying? Football is not necessarily who I am. It's what I do.
Right.
And if Zeke is taking that same approach, I don't fault him for it because his career, as you mentioned earlier, running backs do have the shortest shelf life on average out of all the major skill position players in the game. So I say hold on out. You're in probably one of the richest markets that are there. You got an owner who's had a history of showing, hey, I got bread, I'm willing to pay. Put your money where your mouth is now. Sir, if you're talking about championships are key to you, it's win or bust, put your best foot forward and get your full arsenal on that field to make that happen.
Well, the couple things that are that's very, very key. We talking money, we talking talent, we talking championships.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is in play for Dallas.
Right.
First, it has just been reported by Forbes magazine that Dallas Cowboys is the most expensive
Wow.
and the most valuable sports franchises in sports.
In sports.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and that the place where they play is a palace.
Right.
Sells out. Win, lose, or draw. If they don't win a game, it's packed.
Mm-hmm.
So their paraphernalia is like probably first in selling in the NFL. So they making money. They're not just making money from people coming to the football games. They selling hot dogs, parking lots, T-shirts, hats,
Exactly.
gummy bears, everything.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So they're making money. So money should not be a problem for the Dallas Cowboys as a sports franchise. But I will say this. Now we talk about talent. Ezekiel has already proven that he has that.
He's top 5.
He has that.
He's top 5.
I mean, and the man is not just good, he's smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he look like he on roller skates.
Right.
Like everybody going 100 miles an hour, he going 40. And
Right.
they can't touch him.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he's the closest I've seen to Barry Sanders as far as look like, he got a shield around him.
Right.
That they just can't touch this man. So
Right.
the talent has been displayed for several years. The next thing, we're talking about championships. There's a good opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys to win the Super Bowl this year. They're not the favorite team, but they have a lot of good parts in place. But the key to the Dallas Cowboys being a formidable Super Bowl contender is Ezekiel Elliott. Because I'm just got to be honest with you. Nobody fears the Dallas Cowboys without Ezekiel Elliott. Cooper or Zach don't pump fear into people the way
Agreed.
Ezekiel Elliott pumps fear into you.
Agreed.
So from that standpoint, to me, he's the linchpin. He's the key.
I think here's the other piece you have to look at. From Dallas' standpoint, they're looking at, we are not going to go over that salary cap. But the problem with it is, Jerry Jones, you're the one that pushed to get it. You're the main one that broke up the meeting and said, I'm not coming back unless we have this salary cap. So now this is coming back to bite you what you put in play. And I think that's the part that you look at this, you're like, yeah, you know what? That's what you get for putting it in there, bro, to a certain extent, because you're the one who wanted to keep all the money and didn't want that money to flow down to the end of the players. Now it may cost you some of the players that you want to keep.
And maybe a Super Bowl.
Right,
Maybe
and a
it's
Super
World
Bowl
Championship.
because you wanted to be tight. And the other owners were pretty much like, I don't want to do this. But he's like, listen, I'm not coming to another meeting till we put this in place.
Yeah.
And so now here you are looking at the seed you sow come to fruition, and now you're reaping the harvest of it.
Yes, sir.
But a lot of teams are dealing with that. Even right now, Green Bay's having some problems, but it ain't salary cap problems. Green Bay is having some problems between the new head coach, Matt LaFleur, and Aaron Rodgers. Their issue right now is, first of all, LaFleur does not want to allow Aaron to call all the audibles he's been doing for the last, 11 years since he's been at the top. He's like, listen, I have an offense, run my offense. And if you can't run my offense, then we got to have some more conversation. And my question to you is, who's going to go first?
Let me take this one.
Go right ahead, sir.
Let me take this one. I have a few questions for my panel.
Go ahead.
How many championships has Matt LaFleur won?
I'm going to go with glazed donut.
What team did
I
he come
second
from?
that.
The Tennessee Titans, right?
Yeah.
How many championships have the Tennessee Titans won? How many
One.
times have they been in the playoffs?
Well, they went to the Super Bowl with Steve McNair that one time. They
One
lost
time.
to the Rams.
Right. Okay, so LaFleur is, and he what, 15 years old, 16?
Yeah, I think he might be 18
He's
now.
18. He's a very young guy. He's
Right.
a very young guy. So he hasn't seen as many Monday, Tuesday,
Still gets
Wednesday.
carded trying to get in the bar.
All of
Yeah,
that stuff.
all that.
No defensive end linebacker has hit him not one time.
Right.
So his life is not on the line. His health is not on the line. He's comfortable over there on the sideline saying, run my plays,
Right.
Rodgers.
Right.
And Rodgers like, hey, man, these defensive ends are swinging at me, and I got a better play. I'm out here.
Right.
Right?
And I'm proven, I'm tested, and I've been doing this for years. I think they're going to have to reach a happy medium because Matt LaFleur is the coach.
He
And
is
it's
the
his
coach.
job to run the offense and to run the plays. So they're going to have to get together with each other and say, hey, there's a medium here that we can reach. But I've been watching sports my whole life, and the coach going to get fired way before Aaron Rodgers get fired. So he best be careful.
I would have to agree with that. Although I will say that, and Aaron has, earned the right to have some say so. You've been a veteran quarterback, helped the team, return to some glory, and have some respectability.
Has a Super Bowl ring.
Super
MVP.
Bowl ring,
MVP.
MVP, arguably, one of the best players in the league, still.
Ever.
The only
He's one of the
pushback-
best quarterbacks ever.
I would not disagree. The only pushback I would have to that would be maybe twofold. Number one, going back to Scripture, there was a scripture in the Bible where, there was a soldier who had a servant in their household that was, injured or ill and wanted Jesus to come over to him and go and come to the crib and
heal
do
the
some
servant.
stuff. Heal his servant.
Right.
So he was saying, hey, Jesus, I got a servant at the crib, man. Can you just, just pray for him, just say a word, he'll be healed. Jesus said, no, don't worry about it. I'll do better than that. I'll go to the crib, lay hands on you. No, you ain't got to do that. Why? Because I'm a man under authority.
Right.
I
understand
know
how this
what
works.
authority is. The person that's the head one in charge, they say something. His subjects do what they say. So I've done what my bosses have said before, and I got people under me. I done told them to do stuff, and they've done it. So there is a healthy bit of respect that you have to have for the one who is in authority because
Right.
they are the authority
Yes,
figure. That's
yes.
just universal.
Right.
So that said, I think that this happy medium that you're talking about is something that also can be worked out with this mutual respect. Let's air our dirty laundry back in the locker room because we both grown men too. You know what I'm saying? I ain't scared of you. You ain't scared of me. We can have this out.
Right.
Right.
But let's do it in a certain kind of a way that does not, defame the team, given that we are in the preseason and we don't want to sabotage the season before we have our official kickoff. The other thing that I think might be said, and we have a little asterisk here, is that is Aaron Rodgers developing himself into being a coach killer? There was some talk that before Coach McCarthy left, it was because of some untenable beef with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to back down, and it was either him or me. Okay, the coach is gone. He's been canned. But, Aaron, you haven't led the team to the playoffs in the last couple of years. We haven't even been 500. And you've been injury-prone. So Father Time, who was undefeated, by the way, is he knocking on your door, too? So when we talk about expendability, though we're going to give you some deference because of what you've given to us, this isn't a one-man show either. So I think that both sides have a really big stake in this, and this middle ground, I think, really does need to be reached in a way that's super amicable sooner rather than later, because if they have another low-key disastrous season, anything under 500, 8-8, 5-11, what have you, I think there can be some other big changes that are there. One last wrinkle, I'll just throw as a football fan out there, when we signed Rodgers to this contract extension, making him the highest paid, player, et cetera, there was some real anticipation of us also getting Khalil Mack on the defensive end. We got the offensive MVP. Let's go out and bookend them with the defensive MVP, giving him his bread. But there was a holdback on that money. We don't want to put that kind of cash outlay out there. And what happened? He went to the Bears, our arch rival. They jammed, won the division, looked like they're going to make some noise again this year, and we're still kind of left holding the bag. So Aaron might be entering into this realm of diminishing returns, and if that is the case, that might change the complexity of the leverage a bit. But that's yet to be seen as well.
Yeah, but, going back to our scripture we read earlier, which is 1 Timothy 5:18, where it says at the beginning, for the scripture says, do not muzzle an ox. Don't muzzle him. Do you feel like this coach is trying to muzzle him, trying to box him in, trying to keep him from doing what he does? The other piece is understanding who Aaron Rodgers is and his age. Why didn't we get a proven coach to coach him?
My sentiments exactly. If you're going to fire the guy,
At least give somebody he's going to respect.
well, if you're saying he's the reason or he had something to do with it, well, then he should be the reason or have something to do with the new hire.
Right.
So if management went and hired Matt LaFleur and they didn't check with Aaron Rodgers and have a conversation with him, not for him to make the decision, but to explain to Aaron the logic that they had when they came to this conclusion.
Right.
The problem I have with Matt LaFleur is you haven't done anything. You haven't proven anything. You haven't won. You haven't done anything. But Aaron Rodgers has done all of those things. As a matter of fact, at one point, he was the best football player on planet Earth. So he has stripes. He's proven. Yeah. If it was between me and Aaron Rodgers and I was the coach, I would be listening to someone who's a veteran, who's won, who's done all the things that Aaron Rodgers has done. I would be listening to him, not trying to show him that my muscles are bigger than his and I got more authority than him. Yeah. To me, that's juvenile to act that way. Yeah. That's immature. Once again, when you get a young coach, sometimes seeing more Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays has a certain amount of value to it.
Right.
And that's my concern about Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, I would have to agree with both of those comments that you guys just made. On the muzzle tip, is he trying to muzzle him unnecessarily? Yeah. I think that anytime you have, in a work environment, even in professional sports, this is a new culture.
And this is a hazardous professional sport.
For sure. When you have a work culture, the new person that comes in tries to establish, hey, this is my regime. And I'm not necessarily trying to scapegoat you individually. I'm dealing with right here in this instance. I'm sending a message to all these other folks that's in here that I run this, I'm the coach. And if early on, as I'm trying to, mark my territory, as it were, if I have to make an example, out of you, then so be it. Not necessarily that it's personal. Every player that has come from the New England Patriots, almost to a man, be it Chad Johnson, be it Randy Moss, all, greats in their own rights that, New England would piece together just to win a championship. All of them say, you know what? People ask them, well, what's the culture like in New England? What is it that causes them to just win or be a contender for a championship year in, year out? And every last one of them say, well, it starts with the coach and his willingness to call everybody on the carpet, including Tom Brady. Nobody escapes being chewed out. Accountability is there. You know what I'm saying? Now, the one asterisk I put by him is that, he has hardware. He came with hardware, having won championships, Coach Belichick, with the Giants before he took the helm at New England. But the point being is that as the coach, he level sets that entire environment. And even with a guy like Brady, who arguably is a little more golden than Aaron, you're not an exception either. This is what
he's turning silver now. He's turning silver now. But we get what you're saying.
But he's a product of Belichick and the system.
Right.
True that.
That's the difference.
Aaron Rodgers is not. Aaron Rodgers is a gifted athlete.
Right.
Agreed.
With almost superpowers. So it's a whole different dynamic. Now, to Bill Belichick's credit, none of us could argue if after he retired, one of the awards that the NFL gives out is the Bill Belichick Award. He has earned that.
Right.
It should be a Bill Belichick Award for all he's done for the NFL and his perfection and all the things he's done. He's a great coach. Agreed. Now, let me say these two in the same sentence so y'all can get an idea of where I'm coming from.
Gotcha.
Matt LaFleur, Bill Belichick. There's no correlation at all. Okay, now let me say this. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Those people get compared across the board all the time.
Yeah.
Every day.
We're not talking apples and apples here.
Right.
We're not talking apples and apples.
Well, to that point, do we need coaches then?
Well, we definitely need coaches. But I think also what makes a coach, an average coach, look great is having great personnel. And I think there's a bunch of holes that the Packers have that just haven't been filled. I think another thing in dealing with Aaron and Matt LaFleur is, did the hiring team check and see if they had compatible personalities? Because more than anything, this seems like a personality issue. Like, listen, I'm running this, you're going to do it. Because you got to remember, Aaron Rodgers had them same, like you said, issues with Mike McCarthy. And so I'm sure he's coming and saying, listen, I'm going to rein him in. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm not Mike McCarthy. I'm not going to let him do what he wants. I'm going to make sure he stays in our system. Yeah, but there's a way to do that in such a way that you don't feel like, or he don't feel like you demoting me or trying to single me out and treat me less than the vet I am. Mind you, we're just about the same age, if I'm not older than you. Mm-hmm. And so you coming in, you ain't won nothing. I don't even know if you know anything.
Exactly.
I don't even know how you got this job.
Exactly.
And now you're trying to tell me what to do?
Yeah.
And so I'm
You're
sure.
making my point, Pastor.
Right. And so I'm sure the part of that beef is, where'd you get this cat from?
Exactly.
We're trying to create
Whose
a
cousin
right.
nephew is this?
Right. We're trying to create a winning culture, and you get us a coach from a losing culture.
Yes. Don't make sense to me either.
No
and so I'm
argument here.
sure that's part of his beef. He's like, listen, I got about 3 or 4 really good years left in me, and you're not giving me what it takes to get this ring.
But if you take that up with management, though, Matt LaFleur's, I'm here now, bruh. They hired me. They own the squad. You take your beef up with them, not me. As far as I'm concerned, call them plays. I called them a bench your behind. How you like them apples?
But I think Matt
like to see
LaFleur.
him do it.
Right, me too.
Do it. I
think he'll be fired before the third
I'll
game.
tell you right now, it'll be the first time in the history of sports where the coach got fired at halftime.
Matt?
Matt LaFleur.
We're
look
talking
at my
to
mouth.
you, brother.
Look
Matt.
at my mouth. Dude, don't let your britches get too big for you.
Show him, Matt. Show him.
Don't let your britches get too big for
Hey,
you.
listen.
I'm going to tell y'all, and y'all know this, you guys can agree with me. Aaron Rodgers has been good enough, and the offense has been good enough to win several Super Bowls. It's been the defensive side of the ball that's been our problem.
That has been
so
the
if y'all want to go hire a guy, and they got a new defensive coordinator, and I'm excited about what he's going to do. I think he came last year, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited about what he's going to do. But the Packers' problem is not Aaron Rodgers. It's not the offense. Their problem is they can't stop nobody. They can't stop nobody. They put up 40 points. The other team put up 42.
Right.
That's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. Now, that's something he should be taking up with management. Can we get somebody who can rush the ball and put some pressure on the quarterback?
Can we get somebody who can stop
Khalil Mack.
receivers
Khalil
from
Mack.
scoring?
Hey, I can play quarterback against the Packers. Ain't nobody coming.
And score.
Ain't nobody coming.
That's pretty bad. But I think that's another reason why he's mad. Okay, so why are you changing the offense versus fixing the defense?
They had the best offense in the league for years, perennially.
Yeah.
So why our issue ain't offense. Our issue is, can somebody please
Make a
tackle
tackle.
somebody?
I think the thing that makes Aaron so good to me is, and you haven't had the best receivers.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He's made average look very good.
Man.
He's made average look very good. And so with that being said, you got to kind of back up and say, okay, listen, my job is, first of all, Aaron, let me give you what we're going to do. You fix this however you feel like it should be fixed so that we can win. We're going to focus in on the defense so that if you give us 7, they ain't going to turn around and take 7.
Offense was not broken.
Right.
No, it
Offense
wasn't.
was not broken. And this how deep it is. You guys can tell I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan.
We see.
And the reason why I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan, because he produces.
Right.
He produces. Everybody watching the game on Sunday, not just in Green Bay or Milwaukee, around the world, they know that if you give Aaron Rodgers the ball and 2 minutes left on the clock, you could be dead.
Yeah.
Right.
A good chance you can catch an L.
You could catch an L. That's how good that man is.
I will agree that over the past couple of years, through his whole start, after he took over from Brett Favre, the offense has been better than the defense, and the defense has, cost us things and
Championships.
games. The
Super
offense
Bowls.
needs some assistance too, but it might not necessarily be Aaron. They haven't had a running game in a while either. So I think that there are several holes that are there. Aaron, to his credit, plays, hurt, came back early from the separated shoulder and all that kind of stuff. He has been a warrior. That is cool. I think there are two things that have to be done, though. This happy medium between he and the coach has to be rectified ASAP before the season starts. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's number one. Number two, the defense really has to play at least commensurate with the offense so that each of them is giving up or giving out the effort that makes the other one say, hey, man, I can depend on you when I'm off the field to do your job.
Or I don't have to be on the field as much.
Correct.
Because they scoring in 2 minutes and I didn't even get a chance to get some Gatorade. I got to be back out here because y'all can't guard y'all lunch.
Exactly.
This is insane, man.
Exactly. This is going to be an interesting season. Now, just as we close and we're running out of time here, do you all think that this is a playoff year for the Packers, or is this another we missed the playoffs? Too early to tell.
I think it's too early, but honestly, it's different when you have player personnel changes. But when you're changing up a whole offense, it may take a year or two.
It may take a year or two. And I'll say this, too.
And I believe we may have 3 good ones left with him.
Man, I'll say this much. Well, nowadays, you can't even breathe on the quarterback. So quarterbacks can play today 60. You can't even look at them past 3 seconds without it being a flag. So Aaron Rodgers is going to play a long time. He's going to play a long time.
Not if he got an offensive line that plays Matador defense.
But I'll say this. In sports, the biggest remedy for all ills is winning.
No doubt.
Just like in business, profiting does a lot for business success. So if the Packers are successful, I think this right here will be just a footnote and we'll go on. The new trend is to get those young, new coaches, young, new general managers, the people who know all of this stuff about statistics and all of that stuff.
And the ones you don't have to pay much.
Metrics.
Yeah, so I think the Packers may have drank the Kool-Aid on that, but the Rams coach, very, very good young guy. It's a couple other coaches in the league, young guys, very, very good. So we'll see how it turns out.
That seems to be the trend for professional sports, period, because it's definitely in the NBA. But listen, great show, fellas, but I want to talk to the audience. Listen, I want you to come to the Keeping It 100 conference, October 11th and 12th. We will be down at the Harley-Davidson Museum, and we're going to shoot a live show, and we want you to be a part of the studio audience. So come, shake our hands, say what's up to us. October 11th and 12th. Listen, you can register at worldoutreachbtc.org, but we want you at the Intuit Courts Conference. Keep It at 100 conference, where we'll be shooting Intuit Courts. We want to see you there again. Fellas, this is a men's conference that will be absolutely life-changing. We have hanging out with us none other than E.T., Eric Thomas, the #1 motivational speaker in the world right now. He will come and set the city on fire.
Brother's dynamic.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He should have theme music and a cape.
Oh, my goodness. He should. He's amazing. So, listen, thank you for hanging out with us again. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, 7 to 7:30 right here on Joy 1340 AM, 98.7 FM. Or you can catch us on Instagram and Facebook. Until next week, peace.
Adios.